Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So out of the 3,891 coins across the market, okay, now these are the coins that Lunar Crush analyzes. XRP has rated #1 in the alternative ranking. Okay, guys, this brought to us by XRP Crypto Wolf here on Twitter. XRP Alt Rank, and this was as of yesterday, September the 20th, 2022. XRP, the current rating, first out of 3,891. And you guys can see they base it based on price change, trading volume, social volume, and the social score. So, of course, the XRP community is a large crypto community and a very vocal crypto community as well. So, I mean, there's a part of me that's not really surprised, but you know what? It is good to see, I gotta say. All this on the heels of XRP really kind of breaking out over the last couple of days. I've got Harry here at Geraldo XRP on Twitter. XRP fans, 12-month technical breakout for the standard short-term targets, 47 cents, anticipating we get higher than that. Further levels are suggested above, last swing high to low, marked up in blue. So these are the levels that Harold has analyzed on the chart. First, we have gotten above that 37.6 mark. XRP, as of the time of this recording, is trading at about 40 cents. So you guys can see over the last few days, and you know, even since September the 15th, XRP has gained about 31.5%, now coming back down. Now it's up about 24.5%, but at its high, it went up 31.5% roughly, up to 42 cents. Right now it is trading at 40 cents, so he is eyeing these levels here, just to go back to this, 47 cents, then 61.7, then 81.6, then finally $1.18, $1.59, and finally at the top, meeting that inter-year high of about $1.96. So just bringing up the XRP chart here. Now let me throw that on the daily for you guys. Just bringing that up here, putting that on auto. So, you know, taking a look at this last bull run that we saw, I mean, we were hoping to get higher than this. I still think we have a lot more work to do in terms of the macro time frame. I don't know if Harry is looking at the micro time frame on this chart here. Some good levels to be paying attention to, though, in the short term. Really, though, we got to get up above 68 cents. If we are to assume that this is the bottom and that XRP is going to continue to break out. So first, it would be 68 cents, roughly right there at the 0.382. We'd like to see 92 cents, finally getting up a little higher, $1.12 at the 0.5, and then at the 0.618, $1.46, finally making its way up here to $1.60, and then the top would be that $1.96 mark right up here. So first things first, I mean, you know, 68 cents, a ways away still, and we could be trading sideways in the meantime for a little while before we really crack that mark. Now, how long is this going to take? There's some interesting observations about midterm elections, all right, and market behavior that I'm going to get into in a second. First, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. Now, we did see the XRP price rallying, and apparently library credits have been rallying as well. This is from Stefan Hubert here. And this chart, just from CoinMarketCap, you guys can see in the over the one day period, library credits have gone up 12.84%. And so what do library and XRP have in common? Well, they are both very important cryptocurrency related lawsuits that sit before the SEC at this point in time. And here's the library chart you guys can see on the daily. Library has actually seen some significant gains too, gone up 242% since that same time. Actually, no, I'm measuring that from June here. Let me give you guys an accurate depiction here. So from mid-September, library has gone up 110.9%, so almost 111%. And if we're just looking at where it's sitting today, it's up almost 70%. So library, XRP, both doing very well. And I mean, I cannot ignore XLM as well. Even though Stellar's project XLM is not technically in court, it is still behaving the same way as XRP, rallying to the upside. So this rally, I'm thinking it's becoming more clear that it has to do with the potential outcome of the lawsuit, guys. Speaking of which, Stuart Alderati went on the record yesterday on a Politico Live discussion. I don't know if you guys caught this. This interview was a little longer. I'm just going to play you guys a little clip here of Stuart Alderati and his current opinions on the SEC and what's going on with the Ripple case.
About the fact that you recently wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal questioning the SEC's approach to the crypto market for not providing sufficient clarity over crypto regulation. Can you elaborate on that a bit and explain why you believe the current crypto regulatory approach actually does more harm than good?
Yeah. So that since December of 2020, and that's an important day because the SEC filed a lawsuit against Ripple in December of 2020, we have not signed a single US customer to our platform. But in the past 2 years, we've had the strongest years ever as a company. That $10 billion in volume mostly is driven offshore. And by the way, this is all done compliant with anti-money laundering laws, OFAC laws, anti-sanction laws, et cetera. Why is that? Why haven't we signed a single US customer in the past 2 years? Because of regulatory uncertainty and really regulatory hostility. So the piece that I wrote in the Wall Street Journal was in response to an op-ed that our current chair of the SEC wrote, Gary Gensler, where he announced that the SEC was going to be the cop on the beat for crypto. Well, I don't remember anyone holding an election for the cop on the beat for crypto. I don't remember Congress appointing Gary Gensler as the cop on the beat for crypto. So I wrote an editorial basically saying you can't self-appoint yourself as the cop on a beat for crypto. And what really is happening here in the US, because we have such regulatory uncertainty and outright regulatory hostility through what we call regulation by enforcement, compared to sophisticated economic centers like Singapore, like London, like Dubai. What we're doing here in the US, and I think principally through the SEC as an institution, is we're elevating politics and power over sound policy. And in doing that, you're not only hurting innovation and innovators and entrepreneurs like Ripple, and I won't name others, but there's others under attack and in the space in the US.
So I'm just going to stop it there. He does go on. I do believe there are more clips here. This one courtesy of James K. Filan, but I do believe James Rule XRP also posted this in its entirety. Stuart Alderati, I think, brings up a good point. Not only is there regulatory uncertainty, there's also regulatory hostility. I love that term. I think that really describes what's going on in the United States very accurately. And I mean, you can just listen to the numbers. Ripple has been making waves, as we talk about every single day, all these partnerships around the world, moving billions of dollars in a regulatory compliant capacity, he had to add there, according to other countries' laws. So that's an interesting perspective there from Stuart Alderati. Guys, I also saw this from Warren Davidson in Congress. Do permissionless peer-to-peer transactions pose a threat to the financial system? So this is all happening in the United States right now. It all has to do with where the regulation is heading.
Government will eventually use that power the wrong way. And for people that doubt that, just imagine whoever your political rival is having control of the system of money. I've been a little concerned as I watched the debate as to the role for Treasury versus the Federal Reserve. It was a good question by Mr. San Nicolas, and I just point out that looking at our money, the Secretary of the Treasury's signature's on it, not the Chairman of the Federal Reserve. Looking at our money, it says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. And cash is actually the only current truly permissionless peer-to-peer transaction system. There are a lot of digital systems that are working to rival that. And I would just ask quickly so we can continue the conversation, maybe starting from right to left, we'll go Mr. Levin. Do permissionless peer-to-peer transactions pose a threat to the financial system?
Thank you, sir, for the important question. I think that the permissionless peer-to-peer transfer is part of the way that the economy works, and we have to find ways where our payment system actually reflects the type of innovation and industrial revolution that we have.
Yeah, it's a recognition of fact. Does it pose a risk, Mr. Redboard?
So sorry, I think that it is a major part of the financial system moving forward. Permissionless blockchains, peer-to-peer transactions, and we can now enable that with technology. And I do think at the end of the day, the choice of what the reserve currency is not going to be governments. It's going to be entrepreneurs and people who are transacting in that world. And they are always going to choose the freedom to transact without surveillance and potential state espionage. So I believe that ultimately entrepreneurs will make the choice for a more permissionless system, and the technology will allow for that.
Yeah, thanks for recognizing that. And I think it's an important observation.
Now, I'm going to leave it there. Warren Davidson does go on. His thoughts on permissionless peer-to-peer systems, his criticism of China and how they are linking central bank digital currencies to a creepy social credit system, as he puts it. This clip goes on for another 2 minutes. I will link it in the description for you guys if you want to watch the full thing. And so now I think we're trying to get into the nuances of cryptocurrency and this idea that can we still have some sort of peer-to-peer transactional system that is like cash, that can be anonymous, that can be permissionless, that isn't overseen by Big Brother, the government? Can it coexist in a new financial system in the United States? I think this is all really important stuff, considering the way the world is going with cryptocurrencies and, governments trying to have more control over your finances. Warren Davidson also talks about other Western governments tripping over themselves, I believe is how he put it, tripping over themselves to try to get a system in that is similar to that of China so that the government can have more control over its people. So again, very important stuff, guys. I wanted to bring that up because we are entering a world that is becoming more connected. This just coming out from Ripple, we're excited to announce the expansion of our partnership with iRemit in the Philippines. So they're expanding on-demand liquidity, guys, in the Philippines. Ripple, the leader in enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, today announced that iRemit, the largest non-bank remittance service provider in the Philippines, will expand its use of Ripple's on-demand liquidity solution to improve its cross-border treasury flows. So they've been a partner since 2018, having first experienced the benefit of ODL to enable instant cross-border payments into one of the top 5 remittance destinations globally. iRemit chose to expand their use of ODL to improve their internal treasury management. Due to the archaic infrastructure that correspondent banking relies on, traditional treasury payments are subject to the same barriers and friction associated with cross-border payments. So by leveraging ODL for treasury payments, iRemit is now able to get 24/7 all year-round access to liquidity for their funding requirements, thereby enabling same-day settlement globally. Having eliminated the need for pre-funding destination accounts over several days, iRemit can channel these funds to scale the business operations of their overseas subsidiaries and support its partners, guys. And here is a quote: as one of the earliest adopters of Ripple's on-demand liquidity solutions, we've been able to scale and accelerate our extensive payout capabilities in the Philippines. We're excited for the next chapter of our well-established partnership with Ripple to further utilize ODL for treasury management and provide the best possible service for our customers. This coming from Harris D. Jaquildo, chairman and president of iRemit in the Philippines. So, along the lines of that Stuart Alderati clip, the fact that, Ripple is, they've had their best 2 years over the last 2 years since they've been in court with the SEC. It's because of partnerships like this. It's because, they're on the ground actually making a change with on-demand liquidity. This is what's ultimately going to boost the value of XRP, guys. We've got another one here from T-Hole Betic. AstroPay is partnering with Huobi. Now, for those of you guys who do not remember, may not have been in the space at this point, this was actually quite a while ago, back in June of 2014, AstroPay did launch their first Latin American money service business on the Ripple protocol, and now they are partnering with Huobi. So Huobi is a cryptocurrency exchange, and they're partnering with online payment solution AstroPay to bring fiat to crypto payment services to Latin America. Under the agreement, Huobi global users can use AstroPay's payment platform to seamlessly purchase crypto assets using fiat currency. According to the press release, Latin America lays claim to a young and vibrant population brimming with enthusiasm for the crypto industry, and we have observed a significant increase in the number of new Huobi global users from this region. This is a quote coming from the CEO of Huobi Global. Our collaboration with AstroPay underscores our goal to make the purchase and trading of digital assets a secure, convenient, and enjoyable experience for everybody. So notice how they're partnering with this exchange, providing a solution for fiat to crypto payments. And so AstroPay, they've been on the Ripple protocol for 8 years now. Don't know if it's going to be running through Ripple, at least not at this moment. But if all things are going digital, guys, and going on the blockchain, moving through DLT technology, RippleNet would be a perfect solution for this already Ripple-enabled company to provide these fiat to crypto transactions in Latin America specifically. So I thought that was some interesting news. Wanted to thank T-Hole Betic XRP just for posting that. And another one, guys, from Cryptic Poet here on Twitter, just in: Ripple partner Siam Commercial Bank to apply blockchain to real estate supply chains. So another application for blockchain technology, this time with Ripple partner Siam Commercial Bank in Thailand. So Thailand's leading real estate developer specializing in integrated lifestyles is joining with Siam Commercial Bank and Digital Ventures to enhance supply chains in Thailand's real estate industry using blockchain technology. The collaboration will roll out a B2P blockchain for procedure to pay digital platform to link up with AWC supply chain network. The platform is designed to support extensive digital procurements and payments, bolstering the platform's sustainability features with accurate, transparent, and verifiable technologies, along with SCB supply chain financing services, which increase liquidity for entrepreneurs on B2P systems by allowing them to access financial loans directly from the bank. This implementation will create a streamlined all-in-one platform and deliver long-term benefits to supply chain networks. So in this case, working with supply chain on the blockchain, again, don't know if there is a Ripple connection here, but it is interesting to note how many use cases the XRPL is capable of. Also interesting to note that Siam Commercial Bank, a partner of Ripple. And as we move further into the future, guys, we are seeing more and more of this type of thing where, these banks are trying to find other solutions, other kind of ways to utilize the blockchain. So there's no doubt in my mind that, one day we are going to get more of these types of services will be produced on blockchains like the XRPL. So, it's not set in stone today, but good to know that Ripple customers are at least DLT forward-thinking companies. This all moves towards the progression, I think, of more DLT adoption, hence where we're going to see the cryptocurrencies with value really thrive, those cryptos that solve problems. So an interesting piece of news here from the Cryptic Poet. But back to XRP price for a second. Considering most of the market, again, this is the stellar chart, but considering most of the market is not really moving in tandem with XRP or XLM, or even Library for that matter, what are we noticing here? Could there be something bigger at play? Well, Cameron Faust here on Twitter posted this. XRP has the most bullish setup in all of crypto as of today. Revival breakout in play with potential to break the long-term downtrend in the face of the bear market. So he posts this. As you guys can see, long-term downtrend just kind of moving sideways for XRP before we broke out above that top trend line on this chart here. And even just looking at the chart right now on the hourly, you guys can see we are still, I don't know if you guys remember yesterday, I mentioned that bullish pennant pattern, but it was down here, this bullish pennant pattern. And I was wondering, okay, are we ready for another move to the upside? And then sure enough, the move occurred. I even posted it up on my Twitter account. Looks like the bullish pennant pattern from this morning wasn't messing around. XRP was at 41 cents at that time. So you guys can see, since I did record that, it did spike up. And now we're forming a second bullish pennant pattern. So, these generally denote a continuation to the upside. Are we going to continue to see this? Well, a lot are saying yes. And guys, it might not just be XRP. Other markets, yeah, if you can believe it, other markets might break out as well. And here are some reasons why. Now, Cuervo XRP posted this. Who is ready for alt season? Is there a possibility of an alt season? Well, let me explain to you. The midterm elections are coming up, and this was an article from September 2018, just before the last midterm elections. US midterm elections and market moves, 5 charts to watch. So US midterm elections are on November the 6th. These 5 charts dig into the history of midterms and offer some thoughts on how investors may want to think about the current cycle. So listen up, guys. This has to do with broader markets, including the crypto market. With less than 2 months before Election Day in the US, midterm elections are top of mind for politicians and voters alike. And while control of the US Congress and influence over future policies may be at stake, should investors care? Do midterm elections have any effect on the equity markets? We examined over 85 years of S&P data, and it turns out that stock markets do exhibit some unique characteristics during midterm election years. Of course, a variety of other factors will also influence stocks at any given year, but the 5 charts below dig deeper into the history of midterm elections and offer some thoughts on how investors may want to think about the current cycle. So just going over this, the US president partly typically loses seats in Congress. So this is assuming that the Democrats are going to lose seats this year. Back in 2018, it would have been the Republicans. But this year, it's assuming Democrats are going to lose seats. Why is this the case? For one, supporters of the party not in power are usually more motivated, leading to higher voter turnout. Also, presidents' approval ratings usually dip in their first 2 years in office, which can influence swing voters and other frustrated constituents to seek change. Since losing seats is usually the expected outcome, that scenario gets priced into markets early in the year, but the extent of a political power shift and the policy ramifications will remain uncertain for much longer, which helps explain why the trends we see are in the charts below. Now, guys, this is where it gets really interesting. Market return trends to be muted until late in midterm years, okay? So here's what they've noticed. Since markets rise over long periods of time, it makes sense that a price chart of an average year would also steadily increase. However, isolating just the years that a midterm election were held shows that investors treat these periods differently than others. In these instances, markets tend to oscillate for most of the year, gaining little ground until shortly before the elections. So take a look at this. Midterm election years versus all other years, what we tend to see are flat markets, and then right in and around this time, September, October, this is when we see a push to the upside. And let's just go back to this Marin tweet, guys, that I highlighted in a video I did quite a while ago. I will link the entire video up here if you guys are interested. Basically, a prophecy from the future. Now, Marin tweeted this back in January of 2022. She posted this May 10th and October 28th. Do what you will. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of background, back on January 22nd, 2021, exactly a year before she posted this tweet, she posted this: Bitcoin May 16th and July 25th, effing take note. Sure enough, if you guys look at the Bitcoin chart, we did see a dip and then a move to the upside. Now she's predicting May 10th. And if you guys remember, we did see a slump in May happening around the May 10th date and October 28th. So the assumption is market's going to rebound in October, which would put this directly in line with this assumption that midterm election years, we're going to see a boost, a push up for markets, including cryptocurrency, in the fall. The old adage that markets don't like uncertainty seems to apply here. Early in the years, there is less certainty of an election's outcome and a subsequent effect on future policy changes, but markets tend to rally when results are easier to predict in the weeks leading up to the election and continue to rise after the polls finally close and winners are declared. Volatility is elevated in midterm elections. So that's the other thing, guys. We can make our money off volatility, and they are suggesting that volatility could rise during midterm elections. This is especially true in the months leading up to an election, which have had significant elevated market volatility compared to the same month in all other years. Now, we're also hearing about this date, September 24th. Midterm elections aren't happening until early November. Could we see a drastic market downturn before we see that upswing? Another theory that we should be considering, I think, since 1970, midterm elections have a medium standard deviation of returns about 15%, notably higher than the 13% in all other years. So if you take a look at midterm election years and then the years after the midterm elections, average one-year return rate after midterm elections is about 15.1%. And as they said here, that's up from, what did they say, 13% in all other years. Interestingly, the volatility in presidential election years was very similar to non-election years, indicating that midterm elections truly were the outlier. So guys, all this to say, perhaps based on what we're hearing now from the courts, we're getting excitement, we're getting investors into cryptocurrencies like XRP, into cryptocurrencies like XLM, and obviously the library token as well. 3 coins, well, 2 of them directly linked to lawsuits, and 1 coin, namely XLM by extension, to the XRP lawsuit, considering how similar the cryptocurrency is to XRP. So could this be a catalyst, maybe for a late altcoin season? Will Bitcoin rally as well, even though Bitcoin hasn't performed as well? Right now it's trading at 19.1. I think we could see an upside once the midterm elections happen. The S&P 500 has been fairly depressed over the last several months now. So will this be the turning point, and will there be another dip? The volatility that they mentioned in that article before the upswing late this year, it's a theory, just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.